I'd like to call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. It is Tuesday, October 19th at 9 a.m. Chief Snyder, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why is it so quiet in here?
Approval of minutes, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Public comments, I do not see anybody here in the public. Anything social media?
I'll keep an eye on it.
Clerk Treasurer, claims approval.
We have payroll for October 15th in the amount of $430,430.11.
I move we approve the payroll.
I will second that. Discussion? All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Sewage claims in the amount of $291,489.92.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Water claims in the amount of $189,962.83.
I move we approve the water claims.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
And then finally, civil city claims in the amount of $335,711.37.
I move we approve the civil city claims.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
I also have it looks like a request for addition of services for Chris Yergler at 112 Lincoln Way.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, so moved.
Addition, right?
I will second that. Discussion? So this is for additional trash service. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Clerk Treasurer Parthun. We will go to brief, to the point, department head reports. Jeff Batchelor, Code Enforcement.
Good morning. We're just under 4,000 violations so far this year, and then this is the last week for the dumpsters. We pulled them all out this week. I may have about $500 left, but that'll be it for this year. Want to publicly thank the Urban Enterprise Association again for giving the money for the last 2 years. It's right around $100,000. We did approximately in between 200 and 225 dumps to the dumpsters, so it really helped the city of LaPorte out.
And will you be taking sponsors if anybody wanted to extend it through the end of this year?
Yeah, anybody that wants to donate, please get in contact with me, and then we can keep it going for the rest of the year.
And what's the weekly cost to have a dumpster?
It's $395 per dumpster.
So we are looking for sponsors if someone would like to extend that through the end of the year.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. David Heinhold, Planning.
Not much to update you on, but we did, the deadline passed for the 150 Pine Lake demolition bids, and that'll be presented to RDC next Wednesday on the 27th. Other than that, got Historic Preservation Commission meeting tonight, going through some applications for painting brick, and then some educational training for the board members, and working on some projects with them, with the coloring book, and then walking tour brochure as well. So that's all I have to update.
And we're close to 18th Street housing bid. Housing is obviously a priority.
Yeah, and the other things I forgot to mention was working on the 18th and A Street public offering, and then as well as another grant opportunity for the Boyd Boulevard sewer separation project.
Questions? Hearing none. Jen Knoll, thank you, David. Human Resources.
Good morning. Just a quick update regarding open enrollment coming up in November for city employees. We've got employee health screenings happening on November 3rd, 4th, and 5th at Wellport, and then we have our annual benefits fair on November 3rd at the Civic. And then open enrollment will be open for medical benefit enrollment and also voluntary insurance plans from November 1st to November 19th. That's all I've got.
Great, thank you. Mark Schreiber, Park Department. And local bee master.
Right. First of all, I want to thank those that came out for the dedication of the Kessling Park disc golf course. Especially thank the Healthcare Foundation for funding that. It's been a great success so far. We had a nice turnout and look forward to a lot of great activity out there. Some of the activity that we noticed out there Saturday, obviously bees and wasps are out this time of year. I know the mayor's had a couple residents expressing concern. It's just a typical thing for the fall, not to go too far into the nature channel here, but bees get active this time of year. They're preparing their hives for the winter, so warm days especially, you're going to encounter them. And wasps are kind of the opposite. They've already prepared everything for the winter, but they tend to die off at the first freeze, so they're kind of out for the last hurrah, last partying. So they'll go after your donuts and your sweets and your sodas. And again, they generally will congregate around trash cans where people have thrown things out. So we just urge you to be careful, try and stay away from them. If you don't agitate them, typically they won't agitate you. If there is a hive or something that we can eradicate, we'll certainly go out there, put some powder down, or if necessarily, call in one of the local experts to come in and take care of it. But it's just a natural thing this time of year. Warm fall days equals bees and wasps, and just try to stay away from them best you can. But if there is a serious issue where you see a hive, please contact the park department and we'll address it. Thank you.
Bert Cook, LEAP.
I have no report this morning, Mayor.
Well, we do have to acknowledge that you'll be receiving the Small Advocate, if you could come to the mic, Small Advocate Person of the Year.
Don't make fun of his height.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's small business advocate, but, says the tall guy.
Wow. But congratulations, Bert was nominated and is receiving the Small Business Advocate of the Year for Northwest Indiana on behalf of the organization that is,
The Indiana Small Business Development Center.
and this is a large deal, a big deal all across our region, so we're proud of you and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, I appreciate it.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Tim Warner, Water.
Thank you, Mayor. The cruise this week started last night with our biennial fall hydrant flushing. They'll be out between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. This week we're doing it Monday through Thursday, but moving forward for the next 2 to 3 weeks, it'll be Sunday through Thursday night. We had a scheduling conflict with one of the guys, so it just worked out better to start a day late. All the sprinklers for the planters uptown have been blown out and winterized by water department crews. That work was completed last week and finished up yesterday. We got the final set of plans for the Ohio Street extension that will take care of a dead end for us, running past pavey excavation down to where Mitch Ficus's new subdivision will meet Ohio Street. So we're doing a small 500-foot tie-in there to eliminate actually 2 dead ends. It'll also work out pretty good for the water department. Our east tower's right there. We have large mains that run down 18th Street, so we feel that we'll get a lot better flow in that area for fire protection and water quality reasons. That's all I have this morning.
Jerry Jackson, Wastewater.
HRP is on schedule to get base asphalt down in Monroe Manor before the end of the month, so that looks good. We've had some issues with, well, they've got curb and gutter in and over the drives having steep drop-offs and got some complaints, so they're addressing those. Might have an insurance claim, but that'll go to HRP. That won't be us. The Southmore drain project is substantially complete. They still got some restoration to do, but that's pretty well there. It was drives a bone back there.
That's great. I mean, you made people's day. I mean, you'll be fighting Southmore for king of Southmore like you are Monroe Manor because that's great work, so.
One of the residents brought the guys donuts about every day, so.
All right, Nick Minnick, engineering.
We should hear back from our community crossings matching grant the end of this month or beginning of November. So hopefully by the next Board of Works meeting, we'll know what our paving list looks like for next year. We're gonna be wrapping up some small projects and getting ready for a big construction season next year.
Nick Otis, legal.
No update. I did see Jess Bruder walk in. Wanted to congratulate her on Taco Fest.
Amazing time. Mike Fraze, streets.
Tree cutting, still going on, street sweeping, patching, and we're getting ready for leaf season.
How are we doing on pothole-free Laporte? Have we had many calls?
We've had a few, not as many as we used to, but they're getting down there.
Are we caught up?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Chief Breton, police.
Good morning. Our promotional video will be shot Sunday with the high school. We're starting at 9 o'clock. We hope to have it done by noon. We're excited to be participating in that. And also our participation in Bolt for the Heart through Franciscan to get AEDs in every squad car, Michigan City and LaPorte. We're still looking for runners, sponsors. We're down to the last 2 weeks. We're at 51 AEDs out of a goal of 85. We are the only department with a documented save, which is, I've been plugging that quite a bit.
Great. Questions?
What does it cost to sponsor an AED?
About $1,600. It's $1,595. Hometown Heroes.
Chief Snyder.
Not too much. We have our semi-annual fitness test coming up on the 29th and 30th of this month. And our mandatory health screens for all department members will be next week, the 27th, 8th, and 9th.
Jess Bruder, communications.
Good morning. Not much to report this morning. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came out to Taco Fest. I think it was a success despite the weather. A special thank you to Arnett Construction for being our sole sponsor. And then you mentioned pothole free Laporte. I just want to remind residents that if they want to report a pothole, they can take advantage of the form on the website on the homepage. That's all I got.
Thank you, Jess.
I really, like, even with kind of like a sort of a rainy afternoon, I was shocked how many people were there.
It was hard to concentrate when Jess was moving her hand, the glare of whatever is on her finger there. I couldn't tell. All right, department heads, those that do not have business in front of Board of Works, have a great day.
Mayor, I think when you were gone, I think I actually, I think I did the
I mean,
department.
when you reported I was
When-
gone
when-
publicly.
I think I did the department heads last. I think I made them sit around, so I really kind of messed up the order, so.
We'll get them on their way. All right, new business. The turkey trot is back. Nick Otis.
Yep, asking for use, this is the, kind of lost track. This is the 8th year, but the 7th annual, because we didn't have a turkey trot last year. This is, benefits LaPorte Educational Development Foundation, 5K race down Michigan Avenue. It's pretty, this is used to be the Fitness Friday route. I think the Sunflower Fest uses this route. So it starts pretty much right in front of here, goes down through Beechwood, comes back. So we're not shutting down Michigan Avenue. The only place I'd ask to shut down Michigan Avenue is just right in front here of City Hall, and that would be from, again, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. The rest of Michigan Ave is open. We put volunteers throughout the route to watch traffic, and then usually the police department's nice enough to have at least 1 or 2 officers kind of just watching the area.
Comfortable, both of you? Comfortable? Do you don't need anything from the street department?
No, and frankly, just because of the sheer number of people don't drive in front of here anyways. I mean, I don't think we really need anything blocking it. I just for a couple hours, people won't be able to drive right in front of City Hall. So we've handled that issue in the past. The Education Foundation's insured on the same insurance policy as the school corporation. We've had, I think we are the biggest 5K race in LaPorte County. We've had over 500 people the last couple of years, so.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Transfer of 709 Maple.
Yep. This is kind of, I guess, an exciting, a continued part of the development of the apartment complex right next to here. In fact, as I came over today, I heard construction going on there as we speak. But 709 is the vacant parcel that's just adjacent here to City Hall. There were, I think when I became the city attorney, there was still 3, I don't know if you call them row houses, pretty dilapidated buildings. The city made the right choice to take those down, and now that'll be developed. If this is approved today, this parcel will be transferred to Maple Commons, and ultimately, what the agreement is, this parcel is valued at approximately $10,000, and in exchange, Maple Commons is going to lease to the city for a period of 25 years, 6 parking spots well, not on this property, but on 807 Michigan Avenue. So asking for your approval, and if you want, Bert Cook was also very instrumental in this, if you have any additional questions for him.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that. Discussion? Exciting times. It's been a long year and a half, and for some, it's been long, as I always remember Chief Breton saying, a long 26 years with that 701 Maple and surrounding, and they're all coming down. They're coming down tomorrow as they begin,
And just to comment on that, is it 807 Michigan? At least I get confused on the
705 or
807.
Yes.
I was right. 807 Michigan is not a historic. It's not in the historic preservation district, but it's still required due to the age of the house that the city and Maple Commons had to notify the Historic Preservation Commission and had to wait 60 days. And as you'd mentioned, that 60 days expires tomorrow. We anticipate, will it start tomorrow, Bert, the demolitions? So both 705 and 705 Maple, 807 Michigan will come down. And I think the administration, and Mayor's been in this, but Mr. Kozier certainly respects historic buildings, but just because a building's old doesn't mean that it necessarily needs to be preserved. And in this case, as I understand it from the people that are experts on this, the building's in really, really bad shape.
And people have had 6 years to purchase it.
It's been on the market,
Something
correct.
that-
You're absolutely right.
So-
If the market believed that this was a good parcel, it would have been purchased by somebody, and it wasn't.
It's time.
So with that, Mr. Otis, so the parking spaces, that's, so basically as part of the deal?
Yeah, so
It's just-
that's
there's
not being
no-
approved today, but, because it's not part of 709 Maple, but there is funding that the city is providing to the developer for this that's not been given to the developer yet, so obviously they'll execute the lease agreement, because otherwise they wouldn't get the 170,000, so whatever the number was, so.
Okay.
Yep. That'll probably be, we'll probably bring that back to you here, maybe at the next meeting.
Okay.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes 2-0. Jen Knoll, UMR plan changes.
Good morning. So as I mentioned earlier, we are gearing up for open enrollment come November, and we're excited to be offering a third plan, which has not happened in the 7 years that I've been here. So Courtney and I have worked diligently with GIS on this plan. There's nothing to sign yet, because it's gonna take UMR a couple months to get that drafted and the SBCs updated. But in a nutshell, this is a richer plan than what our other 2 high deductible plans are. The caveat to this plan is that it is not embedded. So you'll see that the annual deductible for a single person is $1,500, whereas our richest plan that we currently have, that deductible is $2,800. And then the annual family deductible is $4,000. There's an out-of-pocket maximum for a single person of $2,700 and an annual out-of-pocket maximum for a family of $7,000. Co-insurance is still 80/20, and then you'll see the premium for a single person is $25.66 per pay, and then family premium is $78.86 per pay. So what I mean by non-embedded is that if somebody chooses the family plan over an individual plan, then that full family deductible has to be satisfied before benefits will be paid. So currently our plans, they are embedded, so if you have a family plan, then that each person only has to meet the individual deductible. That's not the case with this one, and those are basically IRS rules. But, you know, we're hoping to offer this in an effort to enhance recruiting as well. So asking for your approval to move forward with offering that at open enrollment. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing to sign today.
And what does this do for the cost to the city? Do you see?
So it is about a 3% increase in the other plans. GIS kind of, you know, they worked with UMR to, I guess, run the data and look at the numbers. And so we increased the premiums as such. And, you know, the recommendation was about 3.2% over what our richest plan is currently.
That's for the monthly, or no, that's the cost to the city. It's 3% higher?
Yes. I mean, if everybody were to move from a current plan to this richer plan, in total, it would cost the city about $85,000 more. Obviously, we don't see everybody switching to this plan, because there are some people who choose an individual plan, or some people who choose the family plan, which it would make more sense to then stay on one of the other plans potentially. Either way, this plan still gives them also access to Wellport.
This is additional buy-up option, is that the way I understand it?
Yes. But there will be some educational sessions on what is the difference between embedded and non-embedded, and how would that impact you, even though, you know, HR cannot give advice on which plan to choose. We can certainly educate you as best as we can, with giving you the tools to choose the right plan for you.
So with, I mean, I'm by no means an insurance expert, but it always seemed to me that these high deductible plans, that there is an advantage to both the person, the employee, as well as to, you know, the city or whatever the organization is. But it seems like it's not the case with this one. Is that because it's sort of?
So it's still an HSA eligible plan. So you can still have a health savings account with this plan. The difference is that the deductible can be lower at $1,500 because it's non-embedded. The other ones, so our buy-up plan, the deductible is $2,800 for an individual, but that's because it's an embedded plan, and that's an IRS rule. We can't have anything lower than that as an embedded plan. It has to be the $2,800 deductible. We've actually had to increase that the last few years. I think when I started, it was a $2,600 deductible because the IRS changes what that can be. So it's not necessarily a city decision. It's a federal regulation that we have to follow.
You mean for the HSA, like the
For the
deductible amount? It goes up every year slightly, right?
Yeah, although in 2022, it's not increasing, so that's good.
So is there, so the embedded part is the part that I mean, I really don't, I mean, I know you explained that, although, so is it possible for if this plan to be embedded, and then in that way? No, it's not, okay.
We cannot because of the IRS rules, yeah.
Okay.
So that's why this one has to be non-embedded, and we have to do a good job of educating everybody on what that difference is. So
And what that means.
Yeah, if you don't choose the individual plan, you have to satisfy the family deductible as an individual regardless.
Okay, and will folks be here from either UMR or GIS at that benefits fair maybe to answer?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
APTA Health. APTA is our care coordination team, and so they're the ones who really will do most of the education along with the GIS representative.
Okay,
Do I have a motion to approve?
so moved.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Letter of record of change.
So this one is to request that GIS be the broker of record for American Fidelity plans. American Fidelity offers they basically do a lot of our HSA, so Health Savings Account Administration, and then they also offer critical cancer insurance, hospital indemnity insurance, so all of the voluntary insurance plans. They also have life insurance, and so what this would do is allow GIS to be the broker of record, streamlines things, so we have kind of a main point of contact with GIS, which we've worked with GIS for a number of years. So they're excellent. So I was just asking for your approval for that, and then I would request the clerk treasurer sign that.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that, and there's no cost to us to do this.
There's no cost.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Schreiber. Open quotes for Beechwood.
Morning. As you're aware, most of you are aware, we received $850,000 in ARP funding to upgrade our fleet. Part of that was with Beechwood Golf Course. So we solicited quotes for 5 separate pieces of equipment to upgrade at Beechwood. Clerk Treasurer Parthune asked us to bring that, because they're from the ARP funding, to bring that to the Board of Works. So this morning, that's what we're seeking, is your approval to make these purchases. I'll let Kyle Cashmere discuss the quotes as they came in and what he'd like to do.
Yes, thanks, Mark. So yeah, we received 4 separate quotes on 5 separate pieces of equipment. Our preferred vendor that we'd like to go with is Rebels Turf and Tractor. They carry John Deere. Some of the reasoning behind that is really versatility of their product. All of their products offer quick adjust, which is the ability for us to adjust the mower heights pretty much on the fly. So like a time like this year in the fall where the grass is growing really quickly, we can raise those mower heights fast and then get them back on the golf course instead of taking off the units, putting them onto a vise and changing all the mower heights. And that's from mostly the rough mower and the greens mowers. So throughout the year, when it's really hot in the summer, you'll raise those mower heights up. When it's cooler, you can lower them back down. So the quick adjust feature is nice. Also, they offered us an extra year, so a 3rd-year warranty on all those pieces. The rough mower, we feel, is a far superior unit. It is more expensive, but more efficient, it's faster, it's larger. Turning radius is better for all the trees that we have out there, so we always struggle with keeping up on the rough. So that one is pretty important to us. And then from a customer service standpoint, we sent out all these quotes, and we only had one sales rep actually come out and ask us what we needed, what we were looking for. All the other ones just pretty much sent us a bid. So we feel like their customer service is far greater. And their equipment is more golf course specific than, so one of the competitors is Burris, and they had to go to another company, Smithco, to find a roller and to find a sprayer as well, because they don't make one. So I request that we go with Rebels Turf, even though it's $5,000 more than Burris.
I have a motion to approve.
They need to be individually approved, each piece of equipment separately, just a separate motion, that's all. Because there's 1 or 2 pieces that were more you're recommending, but
The only
yeah.
piece that is actually more expensive from Rebels than it is Burris is the rough mower.
Got it, okay, so we could take those each individually, so.
Just the rough mower?
So just the top one, however they're presented on that quote, so if you could read that first one.
Sure. The Tripex Greens mower is first at $39,004.72.
A motion to approve.
So moved.
I will second that. And I guess, since we're doing these individually, I just want to make sure, with high expectations, high standards, you're comfortable we're not settling with average equipment. This is top of the line. This is where we want Beechwood to be.
This is top of the line, absolutely.
And
The only units that's higher at Rebels is the rough mower, right? That's the one that's
is
more
correct.
So
expensive.
this one's the lowest for this piece of equipment?
Correct.
Okay.
The Tripex Greens mower is the lowest, $39,072.
Okay. All right.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
The rough mower, $70,854.04.
I have a motion.
So moved.
I'll second that. Discussion?
So that, this is the mower that is slightly, how much more?
It is about $35,000 more.
And what,
It's larger, it's a self-contained unit.
okay,
So it's not a tractor with a tow behind. And that's important, again, with all the trees that we have, so that we can maneuver around them. It's faster, so it's more efficient.
And this is
then
more golf course.
Correct, it is very golf course specific. And again, that quick adjust feature is large for us.
so again, just,
We can raise that mower height by a half inch and go. Say we're getting a lot of clumps and it's bogging down the mower, quick adjust it, move it up a little bit, keep mowing. Instead of taking it down to maintenance, putting it on a lift, adjusting each side. So you can quick adjust in about 10 minutes as opposed to having to take it down to maintenance, putting it on a lift, getting everything and adjusting those mower heights.
so, again, we're kind of just making the record why we're choosing a more expensive item here. How long does it take to take that back to the maintenance barn and change that out? Is that 30 minutes, an hour?
Probably an hour.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's an hour each time, and how often does that happen?
Probably, it just depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
So like this time of year, we would probably do it multiple times in a month.
Okay. And then this is much faster than the other?
Yes.
So again, that's saving labor as
And
well?
that's why you're
Okay.
seeing such a large difference in the price.
Yeah.
But again, high expectations.
Right.
Beechwood will be the best course around, so you need the equipment to do so. So I do have a motion and a second. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
And then we have the 200-gallon sprayer. It is the lowest of the two quotes. It is $38,781.28.
So moved. Or I move that we approve the sprayer.
I will second that. Discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Uh,
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Next is the turf roller, $19,821.64, and that is also the lower bid.
I move we approve the turf roller.
I will second that. Discussion?
Does it make mediocre golfers better?
No, it makes them worse. So
In that case,
the greens roller that we're proposing, again, is larger and faster. So right now, the time it takes us to mow green, or to roll greens in a day is over 2 hours, which limits us the amount of time that we can do it. So our goal is to keep our greens fast and consistent. So when we don't roll them, you get different green speeds, slower, faster. So we believe that getting this new greens roller, that we'll be able to roll them more often and keep the greens faster. For you.
you may have to come back on this one. Might not be on phones. Just kidding. I'm
I
just
do
kidding, yeah.
have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Maintenance vehicle.
Yep, that is your Gator, okay, so utility vehicle. And that is $8,597.83. And that is also the lower.
Do I have a motion?
Move we approve the maintenance vehicle, Gator.
I will second that. And you do already have a Gator, correct?
Correct, we have 2 older Gators, yep.
And we need a third one because,
Because that's what the guys use out there to get around with their equipment.
and the first two, the ones you have,
One of them is just about done. We'll still use it until it's no longer usable, but yeah, both of them are 10-plus years old.
so I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Kyle, is there anything that you don't have as a part of the new equipment that is gonna keep us?
A fairway mower. Yeah, a fairway mower. So my hope is, assuming Beechwood is profitable, which it looks like we will be this year, my goal is to buy all new cutting units for the one of the fairway mowers that we do have. So really, I mean, that's what cuts the grass, right? So new blades, new reels, new bed knives, which will get us a nice tighter cut on the fairways. So even though we're not getting a fairway mower, I think we can come close to achieving our goal. And we'll see how much we make. If we make enough, maybe we'll get two, you know, because we have two fairway mowers now. Both of them have some years on them, but still function, so.
And how much is that, and when do you see?
60,000 plus for a fairway mower.
And when do you see yourself purchasing that?
A new fairway mower or new cutting units?
New fairway mower.
Well, I'll let you decide that. I don't see us making $60,000 this year, so
Okay.
I don't see that happening, but I think it's well within reason to think that we can get new cutting units, 5 new cutting units for it.
And how much are those?
I want to say they're in the $2,500 range per unit,
Yeah.
so 10,000-ish.
So the older equipment, are you keeping all, once this comes in, are you gonna keep all the older equipment, or?
Yes. So what you do with your greens mowers, so when you take a greens mower out, it turns into a T mower, because the Ts aren't cut as tight. They're a little bit longer. So a used greens mower functions very well as a T mower. We need as many rough mowers as we can possibly have. So until one goes out and it seems like the repair is greater than, you know, the value of it, we'll use those until that happens.
Lead time on the new equipment?
May.
Good, so you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, it'd be nice for March, but they say that May would probably be the earliest we'd get it. So a touch unfortunate on that, but we have enough equipment to hold off till then.
Kyle, you mentioned to me when I talked to you today about chemicals too. Obviously, that's not
Yeah,
equipment, but.
so, I mean, the hope is in our 22 budget, well, that we'll have more money for chemicals. So when you treat, you know, the grass more, it grows more, so the ability to, you know, keep up with that. And then the hope with the fairway units, so if we're gonna start treating our fairways, they're gonna become thicker, you know, a nicer stand of turf. So then the goal is to cut that turf a little tighter. In the past, we've cut the fairways a little longer because we haven't really treated the fairways much, and if you cut them too tight, then the weeds really come in. And as you saw this year, they came in anyway. But yeah, if we get on a more regular chemical treatment program on the fairways, the stand of turf should significantly improve. And then again, I'd like to get our fairways short, tight, and thick.
And you feel we're prepared to address this for next year with the problems and the complaints you heard?
Assuming what we spoke about in the budget goes through for 22, I feel comfortable with that.
I think it did, didn't it?
Okay, then we're good. It was passed. No.
So no issues, so, great.
Yeah, no issues.
It's good to see
Thank
this
you.
is from some, you know, the ARP, you know, grant as well, so that's really nice.
And it applies right to tourism and getting people out, which is the goal, especially those even lower income, teaching golf, getting them out to our parks. So.
And you had an outing over the weekend, and we had people from how many different states there? It was at least Illinois and Michigan as well, right?
It was
So-
very successful. We had 21 foursomes coming from all over. At least half of them were from out of town,
Yeah.
which was nice to get a mix between our regulars and some out-of-towners coming over to see Beechwood. And our maintenance staff worked really hard to keep up. I mean, it was really wet out there. So we were fortunate to be able to run carts even. But people enjoyed themselves. It was a great time.
It'd
It
be
was a
great to
big
have
cup
some
scramble.
housing near Beechwood Golf Course so that
Yeah,
people could stay.
That would be great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Jerry Jackson.
Got a basement backup grant for 307 West 14th Street. The quote from their plumber was in the amount of $8,740. The grant would pay $1,500 of that. The work that they're doing is installing a sump pump and connecting all the basement drains into it, and then connecting outside so it's not that unusual. I'm starting to get flabbergasted with what plumbers charge. We may need to up our grant. I'll come back to the board with some discussion of that. I'd recommend approval of this, the grant for 307 West 14th Street.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that. Discussion. Jerry, I feel like these have come down though. Maybe it's just the time of the year, but I feel like you haven't brought many of these before us.
There are fewer, as we knock them out, there should get fewer and fewer, and maybe some days zero. But we've also been through a very dry period, and until you get a basement back up, sometimes people don't, you know. So, once you get, there'll be a flurry of them when we get a big gully washer sometimes.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
I've got a pay request number 2 for Monroe Manor. This is HRP in the amount of $214,822.07. They've completed $630,000 worth of work this year. That's about 20%. They're, you know, this is a few weeks behind, so they're actually in front of that, but they're billing up to 20% of the job. As I mentioned before, they're on schedule to get asphalt down by the end of the month. We've had discussion. We're going to get all the paperwork, all the billing up to date for this year's work and the as-built for this year's work, and then it'll be kind of start like a fresh project in the spring to complete it. I'd recommend approval of this pay request.
I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second that. Discussion. And Jerry, the curb situation, that will be solved by,
It should be solved now. They were gonna put some gravel in and try to fix those. Once the asphalt gets in, of course, then the problem's gone, but, yeah.
further discussion?
So was it, the claim you mentioned earlier, was that just like maybe damage to a vehicle, like coming up? Okay.
Yep.
But that goes to HRP.
Yeah, that's their baby. Yep.
All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
The waste hauler permit, I'll bring that into the next meeting. There was, we became aware that there was perhaps 2 different business addresses, and we weren't really sure who was the owner of the waste hauler business, and made some phone calls and didn't get the information we need, so I'm gonna have to put that off till next week.
Okay. Thank you. Chief Breton, drone purchase proposal.
You have in front of you the proposal that we worked on, this drone. There is a need for it. We've had a couple situations. One situation is we had a call to 911, or a distraught subject was threatening suicide by officer. To approach, there's only one way in. It wasn't safe to approach. We got the sheriff's department with their drone. That's where I really became interested in this program. Then a few weeks ago, we had a homeless person go missing in our midnight shift. 4 or 5 officers spent several hours checking the trails, actually located the person. But I was just thinking, you know, on this drone, it would have been such a much quicker with the infrared and everything to locate that person. It's something that law enforcement has really started to use a lot, and it's time for us to get on board with it.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. So the dollars that you have, they're coming out of,
We're transferring.
you have it within your budget?
Yes,
And it
yes.
doesn't affect overtime or anything
No.
else?
No.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
well, just, Chief, so with, I mean, I kind of would imagine like this could be even used for, you know, foot chases or something like
Yes.
that, where you can kind of, officers don't necessarily have to be sort of right on the individual and can utilize the drone.
Right, and search warrants, when we're surveilling a house, you know, before we hit it, the whole area. I mean, it's, the sheriff's department currently has 2, and they use them quite often. We're gonna train 3 officers to handle this, so it'll be used on the shifts as well. We'll have a detective that, Corporal Dragmeister has headed this up. He'll be in charge of the program, and he has flown drones already. So, he's like a kid when I told him I was pursuing this. And he worked on this too. He got over $2,000 off on this unit. It's got 4 batteries, 45-minute flight time on each battery. So, you know, it's an invaluable tool.
Do you have storage on it, so if you need to provide on a chase or something?
Yes, yeah.
Does it do infrared and visible at the same time?
I'm not sure on that, but I know it's infrared,
That's cool
for
technology.
sure.
I'd like to put it on Pine Lake Avenue and give tickets, standing over there, to save our officers. I do have a motion and a second. Further questions?
Mayor, I'd just like to say that I'd appreciate that. Our drone is no longer operational, so we would look to the police to maybe, make up where we have a deficiency at right now.
I'm impressed that you said that.
You see how long I waited to say it, right?
I thought you were coming, we need to buy a new one, so I appreciate it.
Take
All
that
right.
times two.
I do have a motion and a second. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. MOU from HealthLink.
That's the exact same thing you saw last meeting from Chief Snyder. I got back to the office and had it in my email. I didn't have it for that meeting, so it's the exact same thing. We have officers assigned to that. We're basically in charge of security and that for the program. We've participated in it quite every year.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Chief, we hear on a consistent basis, we don't do anything for substance abuse. We don't provide anything for mental health, and I think, just as we saw on Grove Street, can't force people to stay. Can you just explain a little bit about all that you do and that you do offer programming, provided, you're willing to even take people to programming for drug issues and so forth?
Right, and that's all, there's no judgment there, there's no arrest made. We try to help the people out. And like you say, on Grove Street, we had a person was in there for about 12 hours and walked out. We try to help them. It's ultimately up to them. But this program has worked. Our officers have come in middle of the night, and it's worked. It's been very successful. I don't have the exact numbers. We don't talk a whole lot about it because it's anonymous. But they do come out, and they have been there without hesitation. We got a dedicated group.
And how does this help with mental health as well?
It's the exact same thing. We go in, they go in, we get them the help. Anything they need, they get evaluated.
And this is inpatient support.
Right.
That's, I think, the key the public needs to know. We are providing inpatient opportunities, but you do not have, neither fire or police have authority to keep those individuals in a program in-house.
Correct.
And there's a part of that program that is just starting that is really geared toward, part of the grant funds are going toward a mental health aspect of it beyond the substance abuse. So that's, again, why we're excited to still be part of this program and even add another aspect to it.
I do have a motion and a second. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
And then the other thing is I have 2 letters of resignation. 2 officers going to South Bend. They were in the process before last night's vote. I had the letters yesterday before the vote. Both have assured that they're still going to go.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion. I'd like to thank Officer Trent Mamaza and Detective Victor Aguilar for their service to the community and their commitment to making LaPorte a better place. I think after last night, with the largest increase in the history of our city, we're headed in the right direction with the police department, the fire department, and we wish these 2 individuals well.
I will, and add to that also, because Detective Aguilar is a sergeant, I'll have 2 promotions out of that, 1 to corporal, 1 to sergeant, and also the permission to hire. And the exciting thing is we're actually getting lateral transfers now. We've had a lot of interest since the rumors started about the raises last week. We've received several phone calls, so we're excited about that.
That's great.
Further discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Request approval of lateral transfer.
This is for Officer Tyler Knotts. We hired him from Gary June 14th of this year. He's currently being paid as probationary officer. I'd like to request that he be paid as a full-time patrolman. He was a guy he wasn't an FTO long, and he was on his own. He knows what he's doing, especially coming from that climate.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. And if I can add, I know you're not used to receiving multiple applications and having the choice, especially of lateral transfers. And Chief and I have talked about the high standard. We're just not taking anybody that applies. So we have expectations, higher expectations now, so.
So Chief, where we'll be at numbers-wise with officers?
Right now, we have one that hopefully I'll swear in at the next Board of Works that has an academy date in January. We have another one right now in testing for psych eval and the physical, so we'll be down 3 with these.
And then you'll have some retirements at the first of the year.
Right, we have one retirement for sure at the first of the year.
And hopefully we'll have a lateral opportunity, so we don't have to send a,
And we actually have a subject from Portage coming in today to ride. He wants to see what we're all about, so the interest is out there.
I don't know how we feel about those former Portage officers. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot Bert Cook was still here. Okay.
You could get him.
Mary Ann Richards.
He just needs a badge and a gun.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have, the first thing is a change order for electrical repairs at 913 Ridge. We're increasing the cost of the contract by $380. When the electrician finished the job and the building inspector went in to do an inspection, he ordered that there be 2 weatherproof GFI outlets installed on the front and the side porch. That's with the $380. It's in order to comply with the building inspector report.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion?
And we have the money.
Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Thank you. Another change order is in the homeowner repair program at 1503 East Lincoln Way. We're deleting the plumbing work in the amount of $425. The homeowner went ahead and had the work done because she needed it done right away because it was a faulty faucet that was spraying all over God's green earth in the kitchen.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion? All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank
Motion
you.
passes 2-0.
The next one is a social service agreement between the city and Dune Brook. This would be using CDBG funds for their Healthy Families assessments. We have contracted in the past with Dune Brook, and we've always had positive outcomes, and the agreement shall not exceed $20,000.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. So we're gonna get in, Mary Ann, to this discussion. 20,000, where are the black and white? Did I miss them? Like, our money goes in the results of these, that we can show that it made a benefit? That we're making an impact, giving them the money?
I get demographic reports on a monthly basis, and I review those. What they're doing is preventing families from entering into the Child Protective Service system by sending a case manager out to do assessments as well as to monitor and teach people how to be good parents.
Oh, I mean, I'm familiar with Dune Brook, and I think they do good work. My issue is, again, should we, as a grantee, be a grantee organization or grantor organization? And I believe strongly in Dune Brook and have supported. And are we required, again, I just want to clarify, by the federal government, that we have to grant other organizations funds? as a part of this program?
It's not a requirement, but it's an eligible activity.
Okay. Can you share an annual, just, I don't know if you'd want to see that with the Board of Works, just an annual review of
Yeah,
how
I mean,
our dollars are used?
Mayor, to your point of kind of what are the, I mean, as a grantor, to see what the outcomes are, right, of what of the money that goes to the organization. Not questioning, Doomwork at all, because I believe in what they're doing, so, but I think that would be good for us to see that.
Okay,
Okay, I'll get written summaries.
please. That'd be great for all three,
Right.
Justin here. So with that, and this will go from, this is for
October
2020.
1st through September 30th. October 1st of 2021 to September 30th of 2022.
And do we, as I forget, do we stay with these organizations, or do we open it up every year to?
We open it up. We invite, as well as I publicize it through websites and the Herald Dispatch, that we're accepting applications.
And then that's decided, you have a board from the
I have
public?
a screening committee made up of staff members and residents, and they review the grant applications and make recommendations.
And who picks the screening, the public version?
I pick the people.
From the residents?
Correct.
And how many people are on that?
4.
What do you do in a tie?
I make the decision.
And who's on there, just to give them some recognition?
Lisa Pierzakowski, myself, David Heinold, and Lydia, I don't remember her last name. Pardon?
Post?
No. She's, works at Lincoln School, lives over by Tidma Bakery.
Great, okay. So, all those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes on Dune Brook 2-0. Next is
Swanson Center.
Swanson Center. Yes,
And this is a grant in the amount, it shall not exceed $30,000, and we've funded them in the past. They do homeless case management. And this is probably something that maybe the police department should link into when they encounter a homeless person. They can contact the case manager, and they'll come out and meet with the case manager. A lot of the social service agencies, Salvation Army, the township trustees access this case manager to meet and work with homeless individuals to get them involved in substance abuse treatment, mental health treatment, help find them a place to live. Even an emergency shelter, they're not opposed to running them up to Michigan City, just where the emergency shelter is for the Interfaith PADS program.
do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that discussion. Chief, and I deal with, I assume it's Lindsay Patty?
Yeah.
Lindsay on this. I would really like to know the success rates on what's happening with those homelessness individuals. Have you had success with Swanson Center taking on
Yes. Yeah, we have.
individuals?
Those that want help.
Right.
Again, that brings us to a situation, if
Right.
they don't want to go to a facility, you can't force them.
Correct.
And that's what we're facing now. That's what we're seeing a lot of.
I mean, even in my drive-in to and from every day, it's amazing. There's a couple individuals that hang out at certain places on Pine Lake Avenue. And when I get into the office, I'll call Swanson Center. I'll call the PATH program and say, they're there now. If you're in town, can you run over? And a lot of these folks are frequent flyers.
Yeah, they're the same individuals, 8 or 9.
They just are perfectly satisfied, living the way they're living.
And we also have to address that with the park department. It's, you know.
Right.
They also don't have free reign in our park departments. because
Right.
Our parks are used by other people than them, so. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes 3-0. Youth Service Bureau.
This is a grant to provide mentoring services. We've done this in the past. They're at 4 schools, as well as the middle school. It's shall not exceed $4,500, and it's from October 1st through September 30th of 2022.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Otis, so with being on the school board, is that, and this goes to the school corporation, is that an issue where should I abstain from this?
Well,
I mean, it wouldn't.
I mean, the grant
seem like
application
it
is
to me.
actually Youth
Oh, it's to
Service
the youth,
Bureau.
well,
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right, so moved.
I will second that.
Thanks for bringing that up.
All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes 3-0. Is it possible to have the data information by the next meeting?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
It all depends on staff how
They
busy
should
these.
have it, I would hope, or
I
that
would
makes me
hope
nervous.
so. And I would think that they've got other funding sources that they have to do a summary report to.
Yeah, I would
Because
think
they
they have
get
an
funding
annual.
through Unity and probably Healthcare Foundation and Barker Foundation and places like that, as well as the FSSA, Family and Social Services.
Perfect.
Okay.
And one last question, so we have roughly, what, $55,000?
Yeah.
How do we decide the amount of money or percentages?
We cannot exceed 15% of our annual entitlement. And I always try to get way below that, because we have other needs, such as homeowner repair, sidewalks.
And this is a part of that 600,000, roughly,
I wish we got 600,000.
500,000 or whatever.
It's about 450,000.
So
Well, is that based off of census data?
That is one of the qualifiers. HUD has a formula, and they use it off of population, foreclosures, vacant properties, and income levels.
So will that change at all based off of our census? I mean, I know we
If we
stayed,
go up, well, if our population goes up, and we are in a metropolitan statistical area, LaPorte and Michigan City make up a MSA. If that population goes up, we may see a couple dollars, but again, it depends on income levels, vacancy rates.
so this has remained steady through the time you've been here, that amount?
No, we've actually lost about $200,000
Oh, wow.
since the
Okay.
time I've been
And
here.
what's the reason for that? I mean, improved.
Budgets
Okay.
and income levels, population. One of the things is vacant buildings as well as foreclosures.
So the success of our community kind of hurts us when it comes
Yes.
to CDB, so it's kind of inversely related.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So
Not
we
to
shouldn't-
bash another community, but Hamilton County back in the late, like 2009, 2010, 2011, they got a significant amount of increase in CDBG funding because their foreclosures increased. But they don't look at the dollar amount of the foreclosures. These are people walking away from million-dollar houses. But to HUD, a foreclosure is a foreclosure.
So you really don't want to, we get more money from this, that's not necessarily a good sign for our community. That means,
Correct.
got it.
Correct.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
But I'd like to keep getting it because
Well,
we
right,
can
right,
do,
right.
you know,
But
a lot of infrastructure.
The goals that the administration has, hopefully we never get that, we stop getting this money at some
Right.
point, right? So,
Right, right. And hopefully, I mean, if that Build Back Better ever gets passed,
yeah.
the city will be able to attract some additional dollars for projects here in the city. Thank you.
Mary Ann. Nick Minnick, Engineering.
First, I have on the agenda grant agreement with Healthcare Foundation. This is signed electronically, but anytime you sign an agreement, like to have it at the Board of Works. It is for $337,060, and this is the matching funds for our, excuse me, Chessie 2 construction, which is a federal grant. So that's 20% match for that, as well as the railroad crossing improvements, which are scheduled shortly after that.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, discussion. So Nick, this is actual construction of Chessie 2, which will cross Pine Lake
Yes.
and head west,
It'll be in the Chessie corridor, which runs kind of next to the water department, and then it'll take Tyler Street straight south, past the hospital until First Street, and then it'll take First Street over and end by Transport. So kind of be next to Transport, next to the street department. And that's back in the Chessie Railroad alignment then.
And when will this begin and complete?
So this project is scheduled to let in the spring, which means construction will be next summer. We anticipate, substantial completion of the project by the end of next year, with some other stuff maybe spanning into 2023, but usable by the end of 2022. So if you remember, on the first phase of Chessie, there was some landscape and some of the amenities that came in the spring of the following year.
I have a motion, or we do have a motion. Further questions? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
And then
Motion of easement?
we have a property owner that owns 2 parcels in the Eastgate subdivision. It's lots 3 and 4. When that subdivision was created, there was an easement, and that's granted for utilities, running down basically between the 2 lots. The lots are being combined, so we wanted to make sure we were bringing it to the board and vacating that. There was some discussion that the city engineer might be able to do that, but I'd rather have the Board of Works do that. I think it's a little more official that way. So this is just vacation of an easement that there's no value to us in having those lots combined, and having a new commercial or industrial building would much more benefit the city than an easement that does nothing.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that. Mr. Cook, any comments, anything additional? Is this Mr. Schaffner?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know that Mayor, I don't know that I have anything specific to add on top of that, other than we've got an exciting project out there that by completing this action, we'll be able to move forward. I know they're intending to close on the property immediately, and we should see something built in short order.
And this is for directionally challenged individuals like myself.
It's the corner of Fail Road and Industrial Parkway.
So south of Highway 2, just south of
Highway
the Family
2.
Express.
Most people know where American Signature
Or
is.
American Signature,
Correct.
yes.
Basically entrance
Yep.
to American Signature.
Perfect, thank you.
And this was a utility easement for the city, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
And we got all our utility, no need for it, okay, all right.
And
What was the original purpose, do you know?
Me, I don't know why it's there.
Could we tell when it was granted, the easement?
they may have just run utility easements between parcels, just depending on how they split things and what they wanted to do. Again, there's no real use for it, so. And what will happen is, I sent the replat, and the surveyor will bring it for your signature, so.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes 2-0. Change order Civic.
We have Whispering streetlights first, if that's okay. Did we miss that one?
Whispering Boulevard streetlights first.
So we did solicit quotes to install some streetlights. We do not have any at the intersections of State Road 4 and Whispering Boulevard, and then Ohio Street and Whispering Boulevard, so we're gonna look at what that might take,
Do I have a motion to approve?
Well, we have to open the quotes.
Oh, we have the quotes here, sorry.
Two quotes.
Quotes or bids?
Quotes.
First is M-Core.
And this is for Mr. Ficus, correct?
The development, it's for Whispering Boulevard overall. There's.
Both ends
most-
of-
Yeah, both ends. Most of our streets at each intersection have lighting. This subdivision does not. They have lighting kind of at each home. So the streets are well lit, but from a traffic and safety standpoint, we really like to have
Do
additional
you
lighting.
We're
require
excited
her
that
to
we're
open
helping,
envelope?
we're able to help a developer.
Yes.
Local developers, so, and commit to them.
So, and this was for 3, so we were looking at possibly 2 at Ohio, at 4, State Road 4, and then 1 on the backside. So the total cost for this is $26,000. This is from M-Core Hire. So that's a quantity of 3 at $26,000. Yep.
Right, second one is from Marquise.
And the quote from Marquise is a unit price of $14,000 per light, $14,320.66, for a total of $42,961.98. So, and we will review these and then bring them back.
So do we need to approve them pending review, or just
We need a motion.
next meeting?
Just to accept and send for review.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not, we'll approve it at the next meeting.
Yes.
Yep.
So do we need
So-
a motion
To accept.
Accept.
All right.
And
I move
for
we ex-
legal and engineering review.
I move we accept the quotes for legal and engineering review.
I will second that discussion. Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes 2-0. Civic,
Okay, we have change order number 5 to our contract with Schneider Electric. This was kind of the easiest way to do at least part of these projects, and then also, I think the HVAC improvements that we're looking at the Civic is a change order to our performance contract with Schneider. This change order is in the amount of $600,046, and it includes new lighting at the Civic, so LED retrofit of this lighting at the Civic, roofing, and asbestos assessment. Initially, we were looking at doing basically an overlay of the existing roof, and we had an estimated R value of an R20. There was some communication after we received our reports from the subcontractor for Schneider, and they weren't going to be able to meet that R20. It's important for us from a building energy standpoint that we get it right. So what I would recommend is that we approve this change order, but also not to authorize the roof portion until we have a little more time to review. So essentially, approve the change order, but only authorizing the lighting and the asbestos testing in order for us to review whether or not this is the best option for this city
do I have a
on the
motion?
roofing.
So moved to approve the change order just regarding the lighting and asbestos.
I will second that discussion.
So initially, I'm trying to think back to when this was all approved, like, so did they say they could do R20 at that point in time?
Yeah, so what they did is we rushed them too, so it's partially on us too. We wanted to make sure we got some things done with a certain timeline based on some upcoming things we had planned for the Civic. So they reached out to different roofing contractors. They cored the roof to see what needed to happen. They reached out to some contractors. One of their subcontractors had given them a quote on a specific product that was suggesting an R value of 20, and then as they actually move forward with, getting that contractor under their contract and everything, they found out that the material was not going to reach the R20. So we want to kind of take one step back and see, are there other products? Because the alternative would be to remove down to the structural decking, replace all the insulation and the membrane. So that's about $100,000 difference, and it's going to get us what we want to do it that way, but we just want to make sure we're making the right choices.
We
So-
don't want a short-term
Yeah.
solution versus a bigger picture.
What's in the change order now is a good long-term solution, but if we can also have, like I said, a different material that still meets our needs, we should at least consider it. If there's a chance to, pull the roof out of the Schneider contract and have us bid it separately, I'm not sure if that's the right solution or not, but just give us a little more time to vet that. We do not want to hold off on the lighting.
And the lighting is what we asked for initially, right? There's no change in what we were looking for
Correct.
regarding the lighting.
Correct.
Further discussion? Mr. Kosher,
No.
please, feel comfortable.
I'm just kind of taking another look at it. Yeah, no, it's good.
All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Maple Avenue,
Yeah. Either way. They have currently the signature by the Director of Engineering on that one. I can have them change it, or you can authorize
On
me to
which
sign
one?
it. On the Schneider.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
On the Schneider change order, they have the Director of Engineering for the signature. I can have them change it, or,
Probably needs to be the mayor, I
Okay.
would assume.
okay, no problem.
Perfect. Maple Avenue redevelopment projects.
With the Maple Avenue redevelopment, there's demo coming up, and they needed just a few parking spaces for a few days. So they were requesting that they'd be able to take up probably 2 to 3 parking spaces on Maple Ave for 2 to 3 days when they offload dumpsters and move things around for the demolition. They don't have a specific date set, but just wanted to get the board's okay with that.
They just,
Can we combine the waiver as well? As one?
Yeah, so which parking spots? The ones right in front of the building?
The building that's coming down on Maple, yeah.
Got it.
parallel
okay.
parking along Maple right next to the
Right,
building, okay.
I would just say it's 3 just for the record, so is 3 sufficient?
It should be, yeah.
Okay.
Let's just say 4, just in
Yep,
case, so
all
we
right.
don't have an issue. And then can we put the waiver of
Yep.
building permits in there?
I would identify just how much, what is it exactly we're waiving?
So waiver of building permit fees, this is a kind of a public-private partnership. The city has some skin in the game. We're getting things out of this development. As such, it always seems an odd thing to then charge them building permit fees, because we're just increasing, what we would otherwise be incentivizing. So I am asking for waiver of building permit fees. I don't have the actual number, but it isn't substantial compared to some of our other larger projects. So,
Do I have a motion to approve A and B, the closure of Maple Avenue parking as well as the waiver of building permit fees?
So moved.
I will second that. Do we need to put an end date on the parking?
Yeah, I would just say, when's the demoing start? Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
Bert? You want to say up to a week? Is that,
yeah, we'll say up to a week, yeah.
So do you want to amend that motion?
Yeah, so I'll amend my motion to make the parking, the closure of the parking up to 4 spaces for up to a week.
Which would put us at October 26th.
and I would just tell them if there's an issue, you can come back, but, we want to keep it moving.
And I would ask for that week to start when they begin demolition of the
October
house on
27th.
Maple. Okay, yeah.
Because that's the first house they're going with in the new LaPorte redevelopment project. All right, so I have a
Just
motion.
quick question, have you gone in there to do any building inspections, anybody from our departments into?
We've been working with them regularly, but they haven't been at a point where they needed, they're not at the point where they need final sign-off, but we've made sure that we're checking up and doing inspections regularly before that.
I mean, seems like they're doing a lot of work there.
They are, and there have been several things that, you know, our building inspector and the developer have worked together on to come up with, you know, cost-effective solutions that meet code where, you know, there were just still some things hanging out there. So, been a really great developer to work with, and we're really excited.
And I had a chance to take a tour last week. We walked through, and it's amazing what's already taking place compared to what's happened over many years before. It's just
How would you rate the smell in there?
the smell, which I thought I'd never be able to ignore, is actually a lot. The majority is gone, and it's amazing.
That's excellent.
And
That's not an easy thing to do,
Oh.
to get that out of a building.
I'm telling you, and they're also taking 1-bedrooms and turning them into corner 2-bedrooms, plus a true penthouse versus a version of what used to be the penthouse up top. And, you know, it's just amazing. So I'm excited to see this happen and let the demolition begin.
What a great location for someone to live too, right across from the YMCA, just right around the corner from downtown.
So I do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Unfinished business, we don't have any other business. I'd like to remind our fire chief and our police chief that tomorrow at Heilman, we will be all, hopefully you'll be able to make it and have some members there to welcome the kids that are coming into school at 8:20. That's their special day, and actually welcome anybody else, any department heads, anybody else that would like to join us. Just, it's their kind of welcoming day, and maybe school board president would also like to be there at 8:20 tomorrow morning. So, Halloween, 6 to 8 on Halloween. And any last questions, statements, or do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second that. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.